Hey guys, welcome to the Essential Podcast. It's your boy Stevie Hayes, and we're joined by obviously Nairi to my right of me, and Jonathan to my left of me. And so I did make a video about the Dante Bowe situation on Friday, and you know I really just wanted just to get something out there because I know a lot of you wanted to hear just one of our opinions on this. I was like, you know what, if they're going to hate everyone, I'll just take the fall because I love drama anyway. Just kidding. So. But now that we're all here together, you know, I do want to have a joint conversation about this Dante Bowe situation and all of the bills and stuff around it because there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to talk about as in Dante Bowe himself in general. But there's also a bigger conversation about worship codes, and I'm going to be digging deeper. We are going to be digging deeper in another episode with Glenn as well. He'll be on the show soon because he is in a worship code group, so he's going to kind of be giving us his perspective as well. But we're going to have just a simple conversation about the whole situation. But first, I'm going to read the facts. Okay. So about 4 days ago, Maverick City posted this. Okay, Due to behavior that is inconsistent with our core values and beliefs, we have decided to put a pause on our professional relationship with Dante Bowe. Decisions like these are not easy because of the level of nuance, both professionally and personally, but we felt it necessary to address. Maverick City Music is a collective of various artists from many different backgrounds and life experiences. As such, no one's artist's actions or behavior can always be attributed as a reflection of our core beliefs and values. Dante is a brother in Christ, and as such, he has our full commitment and unwavering support as he continues to navigate his path forward. Each of us need God's grace, and our hope is that we all pray and give him the same opportunity to grow in Christ as we give ourselves. Maverick City Music. So, right after that, I'm just going to read everything and just knock everything out. So then after that, Dante Bowe made a post like very shortly after, okay? And it says this: in the light of recent events and opinions, I've talked to some of the wisest leaders and brothers around me. I'll be taking time off social media to rest mentally and physically. Years ago, when I dreamed of all I would accomplish one day, I didn't account for the pressure and opinions that will come with it. It is important for everyone to know when to step back and refocus. Hope y'all understand the support. I'll hit you up when I'm back. So then, yesterday, Maverick City posted this in the morning. Well, not yesterday, but Thursday. Maverick City posted this. We are in full support of Dante as he continues his journey towards health and happiness. Our ethos has always and will always be centered on family. We are all imperfect people who need a perfect savior. Dante is a part of our family and will always be. And Dante says this shortly after again. This platform of success I enjoy is a blessing that is both gifted to me and shared with you. My faith community, family, friends, supporters, and fellow artists, I sincerely apologize for the impact of my behavior and that it has offended many people on the platform we share together. This experience has been a very real reminder of the importance of being incredibly intentional with how I utilize and engage with the tools social platforms provide. Throughout this process, I have received wise counsel which influenced my decision to take a step back and reflect about my actions so that I may recommit to living in the purpose God has for my life. I want to say thank you to Maverick City Music for their continued support now and always. Throughout this process, they have remained by my side, and for that, I am truly grateful. With love, Dante. So, those are all. Yeah, I know. Those are all of the messages that Dante and Maverick City put on Instagram. So, I'm just going to give you guys the floor. So, before we dig deeper into this, tell me what is your opinion on this whole entire situation.
And before that, sorry, can you also give the people who I guess didn't see the last video what he did again, Dante Bowe, just to give some more clarity again of what he did.
Yeah. So what happened with Dante Bowe is that number one, it's been a bunch of just questioning posts. Like I know he posted like this picture with a bunch of curse words. There was a Bad Bunny busting, and then apparently, and I'm not sure how confirmed this is, because there's no confirmations. But the rumor is that he posted a nude.
Okay.
and that he was hacked. But as I said, it's a rumor. I didn't see it, so I don't know if it's true.
I was gonna say, like, who saw that?
Exactly. But apparently that happened the day before.
Yeah.
And so, but I'm not saying it's true. That's what the rumors say. I'm just stating the rumors. And but I mean, it seems like it was it seems like it wasn't just one thing. It was a collective of things, and maybe something just broke the camel's back, and they ended up, maybe severing ties for a certain amount of time.
But it's weird because I know Christians who cuss.
Okay, so Jonathan, while we're here, so you take the floor. I've already stated my opinion. I don't really have to say much. This is really, this part. You and I go. Just tell me how you feel about the whole entire situation.
Well, again, like I know Christians who cusses, who listens to Bad Bunny and other secular artists that are explicit, that lead worship and sort of, I mean, I don't necessarily agree to that lifestyle. I think if you're gonna put yourself in the spotlight like that, you should just represent Christ. Yeah. That's really all I have, honestly. Because you're
all that talking you just did earlier. Now that's all you gotta say.
Because like I always try to keep it simple. Like there's all these rules that we want to like change and sort of like compromise. But in reality, if you're gonna be leading worship, I mean, it's in the title. Like you're a leader. You're leading a congregation to the heart of God, and if you're gonna do that, like if you're leading me to God's heart, like I need a like, you can't be living a double life. You gotta be pure. The Bible says in Romans, and I have it here in my notes, Romans 12:1-3. I appeal to you, therefore, brothers, by the mercies of God, to present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God, which is your spiritual worship. Now, worship isn't singing and performing, but it's presenting yourself as a sacrifice, meaning that you don't consume the things of this earth. You don't reflect the earth lifestyle, but you live a different life, and that's consuming the things of God and the things that are of the Spirit. Then verse 2 says, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, and what is good and acceptable and perfect. And I just don't see that in a lot of Christians, unfortunately. I don't see the fruits, like the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, like a lot of these artists don't really show and represent that. And so it kind of contradicts you being a worship leader. And I don't know Dante Bowe, I don't know him personally, but I'm just saying, there's Christians that do the same thing that aren't being called out.
Yeah, and like, for me personally, I take away that I don't know them personally fact now, because if you want to put your life on the social media platform and put your life on a silver platter and say, hey, this is me, then we have every right to judge. Yeah. So I don't even pull that anymore. And people always want to say, why is everybody in my business? Because you post your business.
Yeah, you post it. Yeah.
Don't go out here and post what you're doing and then get mad when people have an opinion on what you're doing. No. When you subscribe to be a social media influencer and you like prime example, if someone's going to judge me, I'm going to take it. We have to take it. We have no choice. We're putting our lives on the internet. We're putting what we're doing, our beliefs, everything on there. So when someone has something to say, I never get angry,
and
bro.
We can't be like the world and say, well, it's my life and stuff.
Because it's not your life. It's not your life. Number one is God's, but number two, you're subscribing to be on the internet, and you be on the stage singing. So when you're on the, and because you have probably over 1 billion views of you singing, when you're on a bus and you're singing Bad Bunny, you're doing whatever, people are going to come at you and hold you accountable. Yeah. So you can't be mad. You can't have your cake and eat it too, or whatever it's called. You know what I mean? So, sorry, Nairi.
big overall take that worship singers, artists, Maverick City, Dante Bowe specifically, is a performer. Again, is not a pastor. And so his role as a Christian is he is a Christian-based performer. What it means to me, it doesn't really change how I view Maverick City. It changes how I view Dante Bowe and his actions. But it's not going to change how I view Christian music. It's not going to stop me from going to a Maverick City concert because I don't go to the concert for a performer. I go to hear music about Jesus. And so with his situation as it pertains to that, it's like you said, if you're going to live the life, but he isn't a pastor, but if you're going to be, I would say, an influencer, then at least be mindful of what you post. You know the audience you have.
Yeah.
You know what you sing about. You sing about depression, anxiety, but then it gets misconceptualized. And I'm sure he is not a bad person. He just made a bad decision. But
decisions.
And so it reflects.
Just being real.
Yeah.
Being real, yeah.
So then it reflects on who he is, and you see that in the video. And like I'm going to take a situation as like, yes, like every person isn't perfect, although you can't make those type of mistakes when you know the level of audience that you have, that you bring. But it doesn't really change my view on going to worship concerts. I go for the specific reason of listening to Jesus, not really for the performer. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the problem is sometimes we could get caught up in the music so good, and it can almost become an idol. And once it becomes an idol, then that's where the problem is to me.
But you don't feel anything towards, like, you don't think that the hypocrisy is an issue? Like, does that not bother you? That you have Christian artists, taking all the spotlight, but they're not really Christian. It's just a hypocrisy.
Yeah, well,
okay, so
I'm gonna say,
yeah. Sorry,
I'm gonna say I'm not like the hypocrisy. I'm not gonna judge him because I said I know that he made a mistake, and I think he took the best course of action by stepping back.
Yeah. I mean, telling you are judging him, but
yes, judging him.
Are you saying that you're not gonna bash him? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like I'm not gonna.
That makes sense. Yeah, because I mean, even in my video, I didn't bash Dante. I don't blame Dante.
Okay.
Like, yes, Dante was wrong, but he admitted he was wrong. So when you admit you're wrong, I'm cool. You're good.
Well,
like, and that's the whole thing. At the end of the day, shout out to Dante. He admitted he was wrong. He said, I have stuff to work on. You're good in my eyes. Like, now if you come back and do something stupid again, then I'm gonna go. I'm gonna lose my mind. But he's good. I think there's a greater issue, and I think the greater issue is Maverick City. Okay.
Well,
okay, and when I say that, it is, and I say this in my video, and maybe not Maverick City. It's just the whole worship collective idea.
I think it's a culture. I think it's the modern Christian cultural issue.
Yeah, it is.
It's plaguing the Christianity.
Well, think about it. I mean, and we talked about this last week about the whole Furtick era. It's going from planting megachurches to now doing worship collectives. Now there's like 20,000 worship collectives after Maverick City kind of pops out, with theirs, and theirs, hits like the top ceiling of anything. Like they're winning Grammys and people everywhere are singing their songs, which is amazing.
And they have like 12 albums.
Yes, and it's awesome. And that's
not awesome.
No,
that's creating a monopoly.
No, I'm saying it's awesome that people are saying about God at the end of the day.
That is awesome.
I'm saying before the gospel's being pushed at the end of the day, but to what cost of the people that are making it?
I think
that's the thing.
I think the whole, because that's another, like, I think that's another problem. The fact that they have like 12 albums in a year. Like, dude, give some space to like the small guy.
I don't care about that.
I do. But
I'm just saying, like, yes, the music's being pushed out, the gospel's being spread, and
I'm sorry.
Not like, and to say like, in the end of the day, like it's still being received, like no matter.
Yeah, no, the issue isn't the 12 albums. Like, you gotta think about the people's souls, bro. No, like, you gotta understand, bro. Imagine how burnt out we will be if, like, an equivalent to 12 albums a year is us putting out 5 podcasts a week. How burned out will we be if we recorded every day? And we with our full-time jobs and we'll be burnt out, you know? And it's like, at the end of the day, bro, a lot of people who live these lives are gonna fall because they're just gonna keep burning them out. Going on these albums, I mean, bro, because think about this: you do 12 albums, then you go on these tours. It's a lot, you know. And I think, and I said this in my video that if you're gonna offer all that, you need to offer soul care for people. As in,
but that's the thing. Like,
they need to be held accountable.
Who's like in charge of all of this? Like, who's like, what management do they have? Because that's like,
I don't even know who the president is.
That's a lot. And I think they should make.
It's co-founded by Tony Brown and Jonathan J. I don't know who these people are.
Interesting.
But people that we don't know. But it's like, hold on, I'm 7 minutes in. Tony Brown and Jonathan J. Let's see what these dudes look like.
That's Chandler and Dante right there.
Dude, this is no, it's not. These are the people. Okay, that says all I need to see there. Let me stop. So this is them.
Okay. Again,
I'm not trying to be funny.
No,
I'm just saying. It's just like, but and you know, maybe their perspective is like, you guys should be taking care of your own souls. Like, it's not our job to hold you guys accountable. But they're like, to me, from the outside looking in, it just looks like they're overdoing themselves too much.
But is the problem, is it the music or is it the performers that we should be worried about?
Well, I mean, if you think about worship, the performers have always, the worshipers have always been the problem. It's like, I mean, it goes back to like, I remember one of my friends who lived in Charlotte. It was when Elevation, I think they might have first moved into their building, but they were basically hiring a bunch of random guitarists to play and random musicians, and they put them in a house in Charlotte, and they ended up turning into a crack house or something, some story like that, where they all started doing drugs and stuff. You know, it's like, it's for some reason when it comes to worship, we just like to throw people on stage.
But that's the thing, like,
and they aren't okay.
But
that's the thing. Worship shouldn't be like that. It's so much deeper than just throwing people in the pulpit.
I agree.
But I'm saying, like, the point is, like, we're still getting the song. The song at the end of the day is still to glorify God, right?
Yeah.
So the performer, as a someone as a listener, like our concern should be, or our intake should be, the song, not the performer. You see what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying, but the performers make it more about them. That's the issue.
Which is a different thing, though.
Yeah,
which is what we're talking about.
Exactly, and it should be like that. But when you go on social media and you act like an idiot, then it becomes about you.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, the music doesn't really make the impact. It's more of the person's testimony and his lifestyle that does. If your lifestyle doesn't resemble Christ, why would I follow you? You know, there's nothing to gain from you, but you just have good music. So that's just good talent. It's not. There's nothing spiritual about that. But if you have good music and you have a good testimony, was like a lifestyle that man, like, I'm trying to think of an audience,
but when I'm worshiping, I'm decreasing. I want the Lord to increase. I don't want anyone to think about me.
Yeah.
Like that's at least my way of going. Is like, think about the words and let God speak through me to you. Don't think about me. Hold on, Jonathan. But that doesn't excuse my lifestyle. I'm not using that to excuse me doing other things that are bad. Okay. It is just that when I am, like, anytime I'm preaching on stage, anytime I am singing, it is never about me. You know, and what ends up happening is that these worship people, and I'm not saying like Maverick City does this all the time, and I'm saying that like they're the main culprits, but you can inadvertently make everything about you. People, and what I think what was happened with Maverick City, the conundrum that they've gotten themselves into is that people are in love with the people of Maverick City, not the reason of Maverick.
Yes.
So they love Chandler Moore, which I think Chandler Moore is amazing. Would love to meet the guy. They're in love with Dante. They're in love with Naomi. They're in love with Brandon Lake, who has the most beautiful hair I've ever seen in my life. I wish I had Brandon Lake's hair. But they love these people, but they don't. But they're not in love with the reason why they created the group, which was to glorify God. And so when that happens, that's when everything falls awry.
But what does it mean to glorify God? Like that sounds so abstract to somebody who's unfamiliar with those terminologies. Like what does that look like?
I see your point. Yeah. Well, to someone that doesn't have a relationship with Christ yet, I see your point. Because then what happens is then at that point, then you are kind of following an artist, because maybe you listen to maybe an R&B artist and then or country, whatever genre, and then you start listening to Mavericks. You really like their music.
Yeah.
So now it's more about the artist and the music. So
yeah.
But again, that is developed when I think worship is just an overflow of your relationship with Christ. So
yeah, I mean, so you asked what is glorifying God, right?
Yeah, like what does that mean to somebody who's just entering the faith?
To glorify God means three things. It's to be with Jesus, to become like Jesus, and to do what the things that he did. That's how we glorify God. It's that simple.
Yeah.
Right?
So, but you said it. So to become like Jesus. So if you're following an artist, and he's not like Jesus, like you kind of have to follow the individual to see what that looks like. You know?
Yeah, but see, and this is where I think it gets murky, because I think that, you know, if I'm making a collective, this is what I'm telling my people, right? If I let's say Stevie Hayes, Stevie City Worship, right? I'm saying this: we are a entryway. We are not a church. We are not we are not Elevation. We're not Hillsong. We're not this and that. We're just an entryway. So when we sing, we're gonna sing the good things of Jesus. And we're gonna have a pastor come out and do a call for salvation. And when someone gets saved, our goal is to point them to a local church. That's what I think our worship co's role is in Christianity. It's just an entry point.
Yeah.
So for someone that's just knowing Jesus, and for us, it's holy entertainment. And when I say holy entertainment, it's like we come because we love to sing the praises of Jesus. We love to worship the Father, and that's why we go.
These artists that I hear and I see, and just like anybody that's like, you're like a vessel. You feel me? Like you're just someone that is just allowing for God to be received through them, but not that person. Like, and I think that's what the problem is. And I think that the Dante Bowe situation is just like, are you listening to the music for that reason, or are you listening to it for the artist? You know what I mean?
I do know, because when Chandler Moore was in Victory, he said, we worship, and in this moment when we worship, it's to completely pour our hearts to God. You know, whatever wounds or whatever, things that is in us bothering, is your moment and your opportunity to find that breakthrough and find a healing. So I get their intention, at least Chandler Moore's intention. And yeah, amen, that's what worship should be, and that's what it should be about. However, when you're talking like that and you sort of, I guess, have this concept and this understanding of hearing God's voice and being delivered, you're sort of a mediator at that point, Like, people are going to follow you regardless if
for sure. And I think it's up to and that's why I think like the local church and leaders step in. Like leaders, like I think that's where for me, I'm a local church pastor. That's where we need to step in and say, hey, like, yo, they're a group and they're amazing, but like they're not your shepherds, But that's where I think a lot of the outrage comes from, is like people view these people as shepherds, and like I wasn't at this point. Nothing surprises me, I'll be honest with you. But it's like people view these people and they idolize them, And Paul talks about this in First Corinthians, and I think that this is like a big problem for a lot of people that are in these big worship codes. Kind of reverting back is that a lot of people think a lot of younger Christians our age, they love to poke the bear. They love getting in controversy. They think that they are untouchable. And when I say untouchable, they think they can walk in a strip club and be fine. And what does Paul say? He says right here, right? In I have the 1 Corinthians 10 verse 12. It says, even if you think you can stand up to temptation, be careful not to fail. You are tempted in the same way that everyone else is tempted. But God can be trusted not to let you be tempted too much. And he will show you how to escape from your temptation. There's always a way of escape. There's always a way to get out. So, and all the things that Dante has done, all the things that Maverick City has done, there's always been a way of escape. So there's always been a way to get out of it. Mm-hmm. There's always been a way to slow it down. There's always been a way to clean it up.
So have they gotten too big to the point where all that is forgotten about?
I was going to ask that. Yeah, like do you think the music is influencing their lifestyle to act above the temptation? Like, I don't think all of them. Like, Jesus is on my side. Like the Champion song, like you're my champion. Whatever words come out, like it sort of creates this ideology where I can overcome anything. So it doesn't matter what I do. I'm above that. And the thing is, I don't think that. And what I don't like that a lot of Christian YouTubers do is they put these big thoughts on people like they think this. I don't think they think that this hard when they're doing what they want. You know what I mean? It's like when any of us are sinning, we're not thinking, oh, God's my champion, I can overcome anything. Like, we don't think that. You're just acting off of pure desire. It's just spiritual immaturity, bro. Like, that's what I think it truly is. Like, when you aren't spiritually mature, you move off of emotion. When you aren't spiritually mature, you post stupid videos like a Bad Bunny video knowing that people are going to get... Like, you cannot know. Like, don't act like you don't know people are going to have an opinion. That's what comes with the territory. Yeah.
So, the question is, well, I can't answer, but is the number or the size of their church so big, or their music is so big, has gotten to the point where there isn't any more accountability?
They just want to protect the brand. Yeah.
What y'all think?
I think that's what it is. I think, we've seen it happen with Hillsong, with the rape victims, right? They want to sweep it under the rug because they're too afraid that if anything goes out, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt
like
the brand.
Image.
So now it's more of a business thing than it is.
Yeah, Wade Hillsong's image was already hurt after Carlin's, but yeah, Hillsong's been done since that. I'm telling you, Brooke Ligerwood is keeping that thing alive, barely. But I'll say this, man. Like, wait, what you ask again? I'll not forget.
I said is the numbers. Even if it's attendance, music numbers, is it too big to the point where they can't hold accountability anymore?
I disagree with him, because I believe that if God has allowed you to get like that far, I believe it's sustainable, in my opinion.
Okay.
I just think that, and from just starting to practice Sabbath more, starting to do things like I'm the most productive in my life right now. But I'm resting the most in my life right now. If you can track what I'm saying, like I am like the most relaxed. Like I'm enjoying life. Like I don't feel like I'm going 1,000 miles per hour. Rest. But I feel rested.
No, he rests. He's just hard worker.
I up at 3 in the morning, don't you?
No, I wake up at 3.
You wake up at 3.
But
he's a hard worker.
Yeah, but I am the most rested I've ever been. But I'm also the most productive, and I think that. When it comes to a lot of Christians and with Maverick City, I think that's the main issue is that, not that the main issue, but I think a big issue is that like it's just go, go, go. Mm-hmm. And I believe that they'll have more of an effect if they took more breaks and went back home, spent time with their wives, or husbands, or get involved with your local church and people. Like I think that. It has to have something to do with the constant moving. I don't think that there's nothing wrong with getting big. Like, if we grew 1 million subscribers, of course we're going to 10 times the content, it's but at the same time, we're not going to kill ourselves trying to do that, and because, like, I think of it from the same, like, perspective, like, but there has to be a limit of, like, healthiness to it, and it doesn't seem very healthy, and in my opinion, I think most times when things go awry, aka a church or a business, it means that the organization is very unhealthy. But I also think that it opens up two bigger thoughts. Number one, that Christians are bad business people. Number one. And number two, that people are viewing worship codes. Hold on. Don't even say nothing, Jonathan. But people are viewing worship codes like a business. Two things. Okay. So when I say worship code, doesn't it sound familiar? Okay. I watch Alex from Mozzie Nation. Hope you're watching this, Alex. He makes $100 million. He's probably worth way more now, but he makes about $100 million a year. Yeah, he owns a business called Acquisition.com, and basically he's taken over the content game by storm. And the key that he has is volume. You got to pump out more videos, you got to pump out more content, and you'll get noticed. It's the same model that they're using, is volume. But how many of us know that you can't use a business tactic to manage your life as a follower of Jesus? Like, there's ways you can use it to maybe boost a company or a organization, but when that becomes a way of life, that's when the unhealthiness starts to settle in. And that's where I feel like the Maverick City model kind of crosses that line. It's all about volume, bro.
So I know you had a point. I'm sorry. So what do y'all think is happening in between when they're constantly on the move? I know I went to Elevation this year. I know we're in Philly, and then they went straight to New York. What is happening in between for their souls? What do y'all think is happening?
They probably see the concerts as a refresher, but it's really not. It's just tiring them out.
I know what it is. It's just all adrenaline. I know, for real, because like even like just working at like at Fox, like I constantly have to like travel and do things, and like I can see how an individual can get burned out constantly traveling and working and just I guess living all in the moment. But it's just it can be adrenaline,
Yeah. So you're saying they're taking that moment as like a holy moment, but it's really just you're just living off the hype of the moment.
That's all it is. Wow. It's the hype.
And then when they walk away, they're the same that they were. Like they're not. Your soul's not refilled. You're just empty. You're just an empty cup.
You're emptier than you are before, and then because of that emptiness, you're burned out. Because God's grace and presence is not going to leave you empty. You're going to be like you felt. You guys felt the presence of God. Like when you're praying and you're in the moment, like you feel re-energized. But unfortunately, that's not the case.
Yeah.
In most cases, it's just pure adrenaline, and because of that, you're just empty and you're burned out.
Everybody's quiet. I mean,
I thought Jonathan had another point.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, before I asked the question, that's why I didn't say anything.
Well, I was going to ask another question. Like, so, do you think a Christian should focus on getting big? Like, that shouldn't really be a Christian's focus.
Do you think I wouldn't think that was their focus when they first started.
No.
So then why do they put 12 albums out a year and do all this stuff?
I think they just write a lot of songs and they want to get them out. But no, I mean, as I said, like aside always has to be about money. Obviously money, but I'm not going to like damage their character by saying that they're just all about the money, because I can't like. I don't see any signs that it's just all about the cash. You know what I mean?
I mean, I think it's about the fun. I mean, they get a kick out of it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's fun to they enjoy it. And I mean, as I said, if this podcast is making $1 million, I can bet you we're making more podcasts. Because we have fun doing this. But as I said, there just comes a point where like when you have big movements like this, you got to be very careful with the way you're moving, man. Like you guys have a universal movement going right now, and one of your main singers is like going to the clubs playing Bad Bunny.
And I don't think
and it's like common sense.
No, yeah, and that's another problem I have. Like if you're gonna be worshiping, like on your downtime, you should prepare for that. You shouldn't be partying and like he's on a party bus, right? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, and look, I have nothing against that, going to a party bus. Like, and this is what I'm saying. Okay, let me just get this.
It's just being in that environment isn't going to be for you. Is what I'm saying.
All right, let me just
close the laptop.
Let me just get this out here. Okay, so this is my personal outlook as being a man in ministry. My pastor like all that stuff, all that crap. So, would I go to a club as a pastor today? Depends.
Well, you wouldn't post it. I know that for sure.
No. But the way that I see it is, if I have Nairi, if I'm at a club, someone's with me that can vouch for me, which is probably it, or someone. You know, like if I'm at a club with, if I'm at a dancing club with my wife, I don't see anything wrong with that, personally. Like, let's be honest, I don't see a problem with that. The issue is when, but if I go to a club and I have a thing of vodka in my hand, to me that's an issue. Because I believe that there is a level of, I can, because we all have different, things that we can handle, Like, a prime example is like, I could go on the beach and see a girl with her butt cheeks out and it won't bother me. Because that's the world that we live in now. And it doesn't, I'm not going to be like, oh my God, I'm lusting. Like, that stuff doesn't bother me. Now, someone else maybe can't go on the beach because they can't see that.
And
so there's different preferences, but the issue is the perception, and that's what you can't control. So if I'm to go to a club as a pastor, I have to deal with the perception that people have of that, and I can't be mad that people have that perception. So if I'm to go to a club, right, as a pastor, what are some perceptions? Oh, he's drinking, he's doing cocaine, he's doing drugs, he parties all the time, and I can't be mad that someone thinks that. Well, because I'm going to the club.
Yeah. Well, what I was trying to say is that if you're doing these tours and you're constantly busy, in your downtime, you have to prepare for that.
Yeah, but you're not going to spend all of your time doing that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if he's posting the one day he's going to a club, like, I'm not against that, but the problem I have with all these Christian influencers is that they complain about it, about people's opinions and perceptions. You can't complain what you are projecting, bro. Like, you're projecting this, you're doing it. When you do something, you got to deal with the people's perception, and you have the choice, and you need to answer it. Don't do what Furtick does and just not say nothing. I'm just saying.
Yeah. So that was a good point.
It's just a point. It's facts, bro. All these pastors say stuff and don't explain what they're saying. That shout out to Mike Todd for explaining everything he does.
He has a podcast.
So
no, he doesn't.
Does he have?
No, he was on. It's Pastor Tim Ross, who's really good.
So I thought back to your question: should Christians be focusing on the numbers per se? And then I circled back around. I thought, no. And if that comes to them because of what they do, they're able to bless more people. But I will say that as a Christian, if you're a performer, you should focus on your spiritual discipline. Because no matter how many people that is surrounded by you, as long as your discipline is like intact, it shouldn't matter how many people or how many numbers. Now, that is affected when you don't, because then now the numbers affect your emotions. Then you're going off of that. Then you may sidetrack, you may get off track, and then you may get big-headed. You may make a decision.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, it's just when you get into this game, man, you got to deal with just the perception of people. That's reality, and a part of it has to become about numbers. It probably had to be at a certain point because the money's coming in. They all got money. It's like it inadvertently becomes about algorithm and money, and when you do that, the heart that you had when you first started can go. And like to me, and my friend Josh and I were talking about it, and that's why I didn't go to the Kirk Franklin concert, because I didn't even like the album. It seemed commercial to me. You know what I mean? It just seemed like a commercial album. Whereas in all the other albums to me felt very passionate. But it's different for me, who's been a believer for a long time, versus someone who just got on the music. You know what I mean? So it's different levels. But I think that just circling back to this Dante Bowe situation, it's just another situation that opens a door for people to understand, like, these people are not your shepherds.
Yes.
Yeah.
These
what I
people
was
are
gonna
not
ask.
your pastors. And just like them, just like us, they need to also be held accountable. And it just seems like a lot of people that are big in our space don't have a lot of they're not accountable. Like, I just saw this dude, he has a clothing brand. He legit just copied Kanye's sorry, I'm about to say freaking again. He copied Kanye's like whole entire design and put it on a shirt. Why is no one not talking about that? You know? And like, if I am in someone's car, I'm gonna say, bro, that is not cool. Just because you're a Christian doesn't mean you can steal someone else's design and sell it. That's not cool. You know, it's simple stuff like that where I feel like there's so many yes men in the Christian space. And maybe it's because they're getting a paycheck. I don't know, but it's nasty, bro.
I guess because Christians are afraid to be the judgmental person, because only God can judge, right?
Not true. Yeah.
Not true. But
Yeah. And
that's the
while
thing.
everybody's here, man, we're gonna pull up that scripture. You're good. Keep going.
Yeah, that's all.
So let me ask you then, Jonathan. So I know that we talked about from our last topic, should pastors lead again after
Oh yeah.
an affair? I know this isn't an affair. This was a bad decision. Do you think that he should come back after making such a bad decision?
And that's the thing, like, we don't even know exactly what he did. Like,
Exactly.
is it the
I don't
party
know.
buzz, bad
I
party?
don't
Because
know.
that's what I thought. Because right after, like, as soon as that happened, they kicked him out. So I thought, oh, it was that. But apparently there's some other things that happened.
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
he's a singer, so I mean, I believe that he has.
he just needs
What
a
was
lot
you
of
saying?
throwing. To
Yeah, I
do
mean,
that.
he has to follow his song, "Take Me Back." Oh, take me back to my first love. He lost himself, and you could tell. I mean, like, but when I saw that interview at the Grammys, I was like, yeah, he's gone. I said, bro's on the deep end. That's not new.
He's not the only one though. There's a lot of other Christian artists that I follow that are gone. Montel Fraser. There's one guy named Ecclesiastes. He's gone. Like he's into like some weird Illuminati stuff. So I don't know what's happening.
Illuminati.
Yeah.
Wait, explain yourself.
Like things like doing like satanic. Like his music videos they're just.
He does Christian rap.
He used to. He's gone now. And I don't know. Like a lot of. I mean, the Bible says it that before Jesus comes, there's going to be a great fall. So I don't know if this is what we're seeing, if this is what we're witnessing, but it's happening specifically more in the music. Well, I mean, because it passes too. I mean, we're seeing that. It's just crazy. Like what's happening now is really crazy, and I think God is just really showing the true intentions of people.
It just seems like Christians don't want to be judged anymore. It seems like
That
no one
too,
must be held accountable. But in 1 Corinthians 5 verses 12, it says this, right? It isn't my responsibility to judge others. And this is Paul speaking. I'm sorry. I mean, I said it wrong. Paul says, it isn't my responsibility to judge outsiders, but it certainly is your responsibility to judge those inside the church who are sinning. God will judge those on the outside, but as the scripture says, you must remove the evil person from among you. It is our job as Christians to judge what is happening inside the church. It is our job to hold other Christians accountable. It is not our job to go out and judge other people outside of the world. Because how are we going to hold someone to standards that they don't believe in? And I think that's just the bottom line of why people hate a YouTube channel like ours. I get a lot of them follows whenever I talk about stuff like this. And I'm not a Calvinist. I'm not Reformed. I'm none of that.
I love how when you always try to like make a point or a statement, automatically people try to like label you as something.
Yes, people and you know me. I'm the farthest thing from a Calvinist ever. Like, and it's like it's just the truth. The truth is this: sin needs to be called out. That's the truth. Mm-hmm. How does change happen? By being called. How many times have you called me? How many times have I called you out? You know what I mean? Like that's brotherhood. That's friendship. You know what I mean? That's holding someone accountable. And I talked about this earlier, and the Bible talks about as well that it is prideful to not call someone out because all you're focused on is yourself, and that's what it's become for a lot of these. This worship collective. It's people see this monopoly right now. If you know what, I can start a worship group with 10 good singers, copy all the branding, and we can make some money.
I think that's what it is, man. I think Christianity has become a marketing tool. Nowadays, like it's trendy.
Yeah, because listen, guys, we get paid no money.
Yeah,
Zero. Settle. And we make a dollar. And when we make a dollar, I will say something.
Subscribe.
We get paid no money, and we're here every Friday and recording. And it's like, and then like prime example, right? There's like we have a local, the Worship Co. Delaware, the Worship Co. And and they charge $10, but like I don't know what the motivations are.
But they wasn't charging before.
Yeah, but I don't. But like when you see these changes, it just makes you think like, yo, what is the real motivation of you doing this?
Yeah,
is it for the passion of the people, or are you just trying to make a dollar? But
it sucks because like I know a good portion of them, and that's why I was saying like I know some Christian cusses.
Exactly, and that's the thing. And I'm not saying that their motivation is to make money. I don't know. One of my friends is in it, and I love him to death, and I pray that he's doing well. But here's the reality. What did we just say? You gotta live with the perceptions, and you gotta answer to them, and that's all I'm saying. Period. We can have 20,000 worship codes. What is your motivation? Mm-hmm. Does money matter to you?
Honestly, I think the motivation should be communities.
But I'm sorry.
I go to like really rough communities, and I just see the condition of the soul of these places, and it's like, these homes, they need worship. These people need some type of hope. Because people get in trouble because they're just gone. They think, a lot of these kids, they think that they can't become something because they have so many things taken away from them. COVID took away school, right? They're coming back to school, but they're not motivated. And it's like, like these are actual issues that, in actual places that need, like these, like we talk about looking up. Like, I don't think a kid from a poor community, I don't think it's a bad thing for them to look up to somebody who's actually a good role model for them, because they might not have something to look up to.
But then that opens up the other conversation, another critique of worship codes, right? I'm just using DE worship code as an example. I really don't know the motivation. I don't know the people who made it, so don't get offended. If you want to be offended, I don't care. Just DM me and we can invite you on the podcast. But think about this, right? You charge $10 at Reach Church. Is that reaching a non-believer?
Unless if a believer invites a non-believer. Other than that,
no. I'm just saying, and I'm not saying that it's wrong. I'm not saying that, but there are a lot of people that know that they can make money doing stuff for Christianity, like for Christians. But where are the people that are going out and trying to make an impact to people that aren't Christians? And I'm not saying that people aren't doing that, but the focus can get so shifted on just people, on the people of Christ. Like, and yes, the people of Christ matter.
Because that's where the money is.
Yes.
Because you already have an audience.
Yes.
So you take that audience and you profit off of it.
And the people of Christ matter. I'm not saying that. Mm-hmm. But there also has to be a side of us that needs to go out and talk to people that don't know Christ, And I have a hard time thinking that a lot of these worship codes around the world offer these opportunities to be able to do that, when all you're doing is worshiping at churches and all these other things that Christians go to. But when are you going to actually expand and go out and do other things to try to impact the community? And this is just my final stance. I don't think that the worship collective space, I don't think it can ever be overcrowded. I don't think any space can really be overcrowded except buying houses, because interest rates are crazy right now. But I do think that it can. I think that the models of it can become oversaturated. I don't want to pay money to go to a worship concert. My personal opinion. Like, unless if it's like top tier, like if I'm seeing like Elevation or whatever or something like that, I get it. But like, if you say you're about the community, then be about it. Mm-hmm. Don't sit here and try to charge me for it. And I'm not talking about the DE worship code. I want to put that out there. I'm just saying in general, because a lot of people, do stuff like this, and it just makes you think, what are the true motivations of people? But we don't know a man's heart, right? So.
I know. Wait. I want to pull up a Bible verse. So it says in James James 1:27, right? It says, religion that is pure and undefiled before God the Father is this. Basically saying this is what true Christianity should be. To visit orphans and widows in their affliction, and to keep oneself unstained from the world. Unfortunately, I feel that the world has entered and infiltrated the church and worship groups more than the worship groups infiltrating the world and making an impact on them. And that's because they're not doing that. They're not visiting orphans and the widows.
Maverick City do be at the jails though.
They do, but I'm just saying, I'm just speaking more of a general
massive standpoint, yeah.
thing. And they might do it as a group, but yeah, I mean that's just. I mean, we should always be doing that. That's
exactly.
Just,
Churches should in general, but there does come a place where I think COVID has kind of given people that, like, I think when COVID came and churches are closing down, people have gotten very like survival of the fittest. Like, I have to focus on the people here and that's it. It's like no, bro. Go outside of the church and still reach the people.
And people did that. Like, churches did that. I think Maverick City did that too. Like, when COVID happened, there's that's that other guy, Sean, the Bethel guy, who started the worship thing. So I mean, there's people doing stuff. But
exactly. And
we just gotta keep doing that.
Exactly. And I'm gonna say this: Delaware, Robertsco, Maverick City, all these other coasts, they do good things. I'm not saying that they don't do bad. They do good things for the Christian community. Like, the music is fire. So they're like, not everyone on Mav City is bad. Like, I think Chandler Moore is a dope. I love Chandler Moore. I love what's her name, Naomi Rain. I think she's awesome. I love Brandon Lake. That other dude, I forget his name. But there's a lot of good people that I like on these coasts. Like, the Delaware or Kelvin. Kelvin. I love you to death. I would die for you, Kelvin.
Shout out to Kelvin.
Like, I would, like, if a dude had a gun to you, I would jump in front of him and say, just kill me. Do not kill Kelvin. I mean, but at the same time, there's just some things that need to be fixed. The same with us. The same on the Christian podcaster side. The same on, like, we are on the Christian YouTuber side. We have issues that we need to address, that we're working on, that we're trying to fix.
It's constructive criticism.
Exactly.
Nothing wrong with constructive criticism.
We're just trying to. Here at the Essential Podcast, we are never going to shy away from name dropping people. We're never going to shy away from telling the truth and being honest. And that's really all I'm saying. So,
final takes.
Yeah. So keep facts. So, after all this whole, I feel like this conversation went 20,000 different ways.
No, but it's still focused.
Exactly. It's still focused, but I feel like which is good. I'm not saying that, but so. After this, what is your final take on the whole Worship Co. idea and all that stuff?
I feel like I already, my final take is that, we need to pay more attention with what's happening in the world and see how we can make an impact. Not allowing ourselves to be influenced, but to be the influenced,
That performers are not our pastors. They, and that my other point is that doesn't change my view on worship codes. I am going there specifically to listen and to just be there for the presence of God. I'm not really there for the performer.
You're there for yourself. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, I'm there to hear the music, to be glorifying God, to just be in the moment, praising, worshiping. As far as the artists, if they are making a mistake in their personal life and are on a big stage, they're going to be held accountable. But my take is just don't make the performer the idol. Make the performance about being in the presence of God. So.
Amen. Yeah, I agree.
Same here. Yeah. Same here. I mean, that's the thing that we got to separate that. We have to separate the performer and God. Like, Dante Bowe's not God. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
God can use anyone.
Yep. Yeah. My take is gosh, that was something crazy.
Be with Jesus. No,
be with Jesus. Yeah, no. My takeaway is just when you do something, you have to live with the perception of that, and you can't complain that people give opinions about things you do when you're doing wild stuff, and that if you want to stop that, then live a private life and live a blameless life. Like that's what the Bible talks about. Live a life that a good man will live. I don't know.
I mean, real talk, you can just delete your social media.
Yeah.
Don't post.
Don't post singing Bad
Stupid
Bunny.
stuff.
Yeah, like you, no one could have known if you didn't post it, bro.
Yeah.
It's common sense. Yeah. But yeah. So I mean, look, man, it's just the You as I say, you deal with the perceptions that you invite, and I mean, there's nothing else. I mean, you guys have said everything for me. Like at the end of the day, God is the focus. God is number one.
Right.
And if God is number one, then God will sustain and manage everything. And I believe that when things go wrong, God's not sustaining it, then you are. You know, when God is in something, there is very little wrong with it. There's always gonna be some wrong because we're freaking people and we're stupid. But I feel like with a lot of Christian things in general, churches, worship collectives, Christian podcasts, Christian YouTubes, there comes this jump that it becomes God sustaining it. Now I am the sustainer, and we always have to stay in that area of God is sustaining this. David's rule wouldn't have worked if he wasn't a man after God's own heart. The Acts church, right? The multiple plantings that Paul did, right? Wouldn't have worked if Paul was sustaining it. Only in Jesus can things actually work. And, being a Christian is a constant refocus every day. And if we go a day and think that we're good, we're not good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a constant rethinking of like, yo, all right, let me just make sure that I'm chilling, I'm here. Like it's a constant, and I'm pretty sure you guys do this every day. You guys are making sure, all right, I'm reading my Bible. I have to make sure that my mind is right. It's all about spiritual discipline.
If you don't, then what happens is you get caught up in the go as we say with the artist, and you forget about those practices, those disciplines, and then that's where you start to go off your flesh, emotions.
Exactly, and that's the key, man. And that's what I think we all agree. That's the root of the problem, is abandonment of who you actually are in Christ. It's abandonment of discipline. You can be in all of these holy moments and miss God just like that, just like Martha did. Right? She was making all the food.
Yeah.
She was doing a lot for God, but she missed
the
them.
moment. Yeah.
You can do everything. You can have concerts of 1,000 and still miss them, man. Think about that.
Yeah.
People can come to Christ.
It's a thought to leave people with.
Yeah, people can come to Christ to you singing or to you preaching, but you can miss God still in the moment.
Clip it.
Yeah, clip that.
Clip it.
So that's just where we end at, man. I know we started off a little hype and a little aggressive. Now we're ending calm, but
Yeah.
but yeah, guys. Hey, I was gonna wear my Maverick City hoodie today, but
I have elevation on.
Yeah.
It's just hot in here.
But we just hope that you guys love this podcast, and that if you guys have any questions, leave a comment and like and subscribe. We are a community, so we do answer back, whether it's a debate or it's just a regular comment. So yeah, man, just follow us on Instagram, TikTok, at the Essential Show Podcast. All right, so guys, have a nice day. Peace out.